What's poppin', y'all? Rappers acting like they're devil worshippers or blatantly promoting satanic imagery is something that's become much more popular since around 2014. Now, there have been rappers that have played around with this subtly and some more in your face about it, but there hasn't been as many as there are right now, and that's partially because back then this was a bad move to make in your career. And while it got you a lot of attention, it would also lose you many fans, if not ruin your career. If you like analysis videos on hip hop and rap, then subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. I upload at least twice a week on both Mondays and Wednesdays. Also follow me on Instagram if you want to see my first reaction reviews to albums as they release. While I was finishing putting this video together, I came across an article that put me onto some information I never knew about, and while it leaves out a lot of things I mention here, I just wanted to give credit, so I'll link it in the description if you're interested. I was surprised that Big L was rapping some devilish lines. I hadn't listened to his Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous album for at least 10 years, but apparently there was a song he had before the album called Devil's Son, briefly after he signed to Columbia Records, and the song was banned from radio play. It isn't hard to see why, considering this was the 90s, and it featured lyrics like, "On my skull the 666, no tricks, when I catch fits, my mom picks up the crucifix, and I kill chumps for the cheapest price, I'm rolling with Satan, not Jesus Christ, enemies I got several done, Big L straight from hell, the mother effing devil's son." It's crazy because a rapper with a verse like this today would probably get a little boost in their career. But even on his album, the track Danger Zone had lyrics that said, "It's the 666 in the mix, straight from HE double hockey sticks, and every Sunday a nun lay where my gun spray." These are the kind of lines you would expect from shock value, horrorcore rappers, or maybe even early Odd Future, but Big L was dropping lines like this in the mid-90s. And a producer who worked on this song, Lord Finesse, would confirm that in 2010, saying that Big L liked the Gravediggers and wanted to blend horrorcore fiction with the real stuff that was going on in Harlem on the album and present it as a story or movie. Where I initially was going to start off was 3-6 Mafia, and even though DJ Paul grew up in a traditional Christian family that would always go to church on Sundays, he would take the opportunity to explore his darker side, which he has even said was a character on the music end of things. Him and the rest of 3-6 were really into serial killers and horror movies, and their early music was an extension of this with projects like Mystic Styles. Over time, and as they grew more popular, they stayed away from being as explicit with the dark references, but still kept that same sound. It just wasn't good for business on the mainstream level that they had reached after being in the Memphis underground. DJ Paul has even said that some of their lyrical content back then was too far, and he wouldn't consider saying the same thing today. Eminem was next and the most popular when it came to shock value rap. Although his lyrics weren't too satanic, he always had that horns pose he did with his hand, and was even facing being banned from multiple countries because of his hardcore lyrics. But why was hip-hop so against satanic imagery or anything to do with that? If you look back at rock, there were plenty of bands or individuals that would outright call themselves Satanists. And if not, they would use the image of upside down crosses and wearing dark clothing and eyeliner, fire, frequently. They had no problem and sold millions of records doing so. But hip-hop was against that, and for good reason. Fear of God has always been a big underlying component in hip-hop, and I don't want to say religion as a whole because there are plenty of rappers that act against everything their religion represents when it comes to treatment of females, having bastard children, tattoos all over, premarital sex, selling drugs, shooting people, promoting all that. The list goes on. You've seen episodes of The Wire, and some of you have probably seen it in real life. Same people doing all that gang activity and shooting be at church on Sunday, like totally different people, just to repeat everything they were doing the next week, and the cycle continues. But even all of this is and was accepted or tolerated because they are just sins. You can ask for forgiveness, reform yourself, and rappers would always thank God for their accomplishments. Even Offset, as an example, when he was seeing all these rappers throwing up upside down crosses and 666s, voiced his opinion and said they need to turn to God because, as bad as anything he's ever done, worshipping the devil is worse because not only is it the representation of all things evil, but it means you're putting Satan over God, which is blasphemy, and one of the few great things that have remained in hip-hop is the zero tolerance people have for blasphemy. This might give you a better understanding of why it isn't accepted, but it doesn't quite explain why it became such a popular thing. And I would have to chalk it up to two things that went hand in hand. And those are Odd Future and YouTube Illuminati documentaries. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, YouTube became flooded with these different documentaries talking about the New World Order, secret societies, brainwash, and all these different conspiracy theories. But the biggest one was that everyone in the entertainment industry was a devil worshiper and had to go through some ritual to get the success that they have. These videos took a lot of time to craft. They would point out random things in music videos that alluded to satanic imagery, lyrics from rappers saying they sold their soul, and more. Many people believed all of this and ate it up. I was just a kid, and even I ate it up for a good month or two before I came to my senses and realized that while just a sliver of it may be true, maybe, the large majority of it is just exaggerated beyond belief. Still though, even today many people believe in all of that. Just look at the whole cloning thing. But let me not get off topic. Odd Future was going on the same time as this, and they were the horrorcore for preteens and teenagers. They gave them that edgy, rebellious, screw society type of image and music that they all search for. From the album covers of Bastard and Goblin to the 666 merch and upside down crosses merchandise, people that were fans of Odd Future were spray painting this stuff everywhere. Many adults couldn't see this was clearly a joke, and this is where I think it all started as a way to get attention, and they came up off the internet, so it wasn't taboo. We also gotta mention that Odd Future early fans were mostly made up of white American kids, suburbs, and some European foreigners who are not only tolerable of that kind of edgy material, but enjoy it. And after Tyler the Creator had showed you could be a successful rapper and use that satanic stuff to help you get more controversy, many would follow suit. Space Ghost Perp, who was inspired by both metal and 3-6 Mafia, had a dark aesthetic and theme, but never really took it to levels that were satanic per se. However, A$AP Rocky, who adopted or stole that whole aesthetic, depending on what your opinion is, would push the envelope, and in a music video for the song What's Up, where you can see him holding a female on a leash, and most notably being a pentagram drawn with a powder that was likely meant to represent coke, all surrounded by lit up candles in a dark room. Lil Uzi Vert, who people call his name Lucifer, just slowed down a lot, isn't one to hide his influences from rock, calling himself a rock star and saying people like Gigi Allen and Marilyn Manson are his biggest idols. He's been interested in cults, with the album cover for Eternal Atake originally having been something based off a cult in the 90s, and even said he's going to take his fans at a show to hell with him. This hasn't harmed Uzi, but there have been many people saying they can't rock with him because of how demonic he be sometimes. There's also rappers that tiptoe around the fence. They want to get all the controversy and publicity that comes with pretending to be into all this Satanism and satanic imagery without actually attaching themselves to it, so they make up some nonsense. Take Sababy as an example, who, after having a brief buzz with his song Pull Up With a Stick, and after that falling off as a failed attempt at being a Young Thug clone, would always be seen rocking an upside down cross chain and 666. After getting enough comments criticizing him about it, he would speak up and say it isn't satanic, it's just unknownism, which is some garbage he made up and tried to explain it by saying that 666 stands for 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. That equals carbon-12 that helps make melanin, so it's really a black empowerment number. Sababy must have either failed chemistry or thinks we're retarded to believe this nonsense that has no scientific backing whatsoever. But another rapper decided to join in with that same stupid explanation, and that's Trippie Redd. He caught some heat when he titled the song TR666, and his explanation was that TR sounds for Trippie Redd, fair enough, and Trippie Redd is black, but he's also dark, and that he makes dark music, but he's black, and gave the same protons, neutrons, electrons explanation that Sababy did for the 666. Another idiot, I guess. But I don't know how he's going to use that explanation for the music video for Topanga. When you first hear the song without the visuals, I feel like it's a good song, honestly. A nice vibe. But once you check out the music videos with Baphomet heads, serpents, a pentagram with candles lit up, females that look like zombies, and what looks like some sort of satanic ritual where they're about to sacrifice someone, or maybe in a rapper's case, sacrifice their booty hole, This music video isn't even applicable to rappers who have the darkest of themes, which this song is definitely not. There were people trying to justify it, somehow saying it was a recreation of Charles Manson, and the song is about saving a girl who dies in Topanga, but the person who lived in Topanga that got killed by the Manson family was a man named Gary Hinman. Stop acting like this song was anything more than Trippy just rapping and harmonizing about guns while making unrelated references. This is up there as one of the most demonic hip-hop music videos I've ever seen. Juice WRLD only posted a video to Instagram of what looked like it was night since there were no lights, and a bunch of candles saying he was ready to sell his soul. And with Juice WRLD's frequently used numbers 999 being 666 upside down, many of his fans said they weren't rocking with him anymore after that, even though he was clearly joking. The next morning he would apologize and say he worshipped God and that it was all a joke just to get some attention, but not all attention is good attention. It's safe to say that Satanism or any of that imagery isn't accepted on a mainstream level in hip-hop yet, and hopefully never is. But when it comes to the underground scene, it not only survives, but almost thrives, and there's a reason for that. Many fans of these rappers are from Europe and different suburbs in America that are into this kind of F-society, edgy material. On top of the fact that they enjoy the loud energy many of these rappers bring. Take for example Zillakami, who used to make music with 6ix9ine. It wasn't until 6ix9ine abandoned that really dark and demonic aesthetic that he would have popularity in the mainstream. But before that, he was well known in certain parts of Europe. Suicide Boys and Ghostmane are two other underground rappers who mess around with these satanic themes. More so Suicide Boys, who have said on several occasions that they only use it as a metaphor to represent how against societal norms they are, and Ghostmane was in a band and a fan of metal, so it's only normal to expect this kind of behavior from him. While some people have become numb to the satanic references when it comes to these new rappers, since most can tell it's just for attention, it's still something they continue to blatantly do in hopes that it will get them some coverage. And while the shock factor isn't as crazy as it was back in the 90s, 2000s, or even early 2010s, it's still there. And as long as there's shock factor, rappers will continue to promote satanic imagery, whether they really believe in it or not. Let me know what y'all think in the comments though. Do you be rocking with this demonic stuff or not? Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Peace.